workshop of the Central Texas College Board. Please, as is my custom, when I pray in public, I offer to everyone who's present, of whatever your faith base may be, you use this time to honor the one that you believe is the authority spiritually in your life. Father, I thank you for the relationship that we have in a world that requires faith. Thank you for allowing us to come before you, requesting of you grace, mercy, peace, and wisdom. Bless us as we meet together today, I pray in Jesus' name. Amen.
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 Follow me the pledge. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please follow me in honoring the Texas flag.
Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one indivisible.
Thank you, gentlemen. First item of business is opportunity for members of the public to speak to the board. Anyone here wishing for that opportunity? Seeing none, hearing none, we move to the next item, which is the oath of office for our Chief of Police. Dr. Carter, would you like to introduce the Chief?
Yes. I actually have a pretty lengthy introduction, so walk slow. Chief Carrie Ellis has over 30 years of experience in law enforcement. During 21 years of distinguished service with the City of Corinth, Chief Ellis served as patrol officer, school resource officer, criminal investigator, corporal, and lieutenant. Less than 1 year after retiring from the Corinth Police Department, the City of Willow Park City Council confirmed Chief Ellis as the first female chief of police. Prior to being appointed Chief of Police at Central Texas College, Chief Ellis implemented numerous improvements for the agency she led and served, including a competitive hiring promotional process, additional internal controls to facilitate improved performance, receipt of law enforcement officer standards and education funds for officer training, and participation in the federal Bulletproof Vest Partnership. That is not all-inclusive, just a few highlights. Chief Ellis earned a bachelor's degree from Midwestern State University and a Master of Public Administration from the University of Texas at Arlington. She has also completed 30 hours toward a PhD in criminal justice. Chief Ellis is a graduate of the Institute for Law Enforcement Administration School of Police Supervision. She is also a graduate of the Bill Blackwood Leadership Command College. I would also like to point out that she graduated from a police academy at a community college. So, she is a member of the Central Texas Area Chiefs of Police and Sheriffs Association, the Texas Police Chiefs Association, and the International Association of Chiefs of Police. Chief Ellis currently serves as the second vice president of the Texas Police Chiefs Association and is a member of the Police Administration Committee for the International Association of Chiefs of Police. During Law Enforcement Day at the Capitol, CTC received a shout out because she was there.
One more, please. Chief, if you repeat these words after me, starting with I and your name.
Sir. I, Carrie Ellis,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will faithfully execute the duties of the office
that I will faithfully execute the duties of the office of Police Chief
and will, to the best of my ability, preserve,
and will to the best of my ability preserve,
protect, and defend
and defend
the Constitution and laws of the United States
the Constitution and laws of the United States
and of this state.
and of this state.
So help me God.
So help me God.
God bless you. Thank you. Thank you.
Yes. So first off, thank you to Dr. Carter for giving me this opportunity, and thank you to the board for letting me say hello and interact with you during our luncheon earlier. I enjoyed that very much, the relaxed setting. But also, I'd like to thank you for the opportunity to lead the men and women of the Central Texas College Police Department. What I have seen so far from that small group of folks that we have right now is pride, honor, determination, and a willingness to make sure that this campus is safe. And they should be applauded for their efforts as well. Having 2 people come back out of retirement just to make sure that that operation is running is a testament to the character of those individuals and of this organization. So I applaud you for the people that you have in place here. That's commendable. So I'm free to answer any questions that you have after the meeting, where I come from, where I've been, who I am. But for now, I'll say thank you. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Now it's time for the Chancellor's update.
The Fort Cavazos Legislative Tour Day. I shared with you all that the biannual visit from the Capitol to Fort Cavazos, the visit started on our campus. So we had Senator Flores, Representative Buckley, and Representative Hicklin, along with some of their staff members and a couple of other legislators from other areas, along with some community members that were invited by the chamber to participate. We began the day with greetings from the legislators, of course, and then I was given the opportunity to provide an overview of Central Texas College and our legislative priorities as outlined through the Texas Association of Community Colleges. So that went well. And then we traveled over to Fort Cavazos to hear an initial briefing from Lieutenant General Kevin Abril on 3 Corps and their mission. So that was really good. The group then went to, they broke out into sessions where they worked with, well, not worked, but they observed and interacted with the soldiers to learn what it is that they do to maintain military readiness, and went through some simulators and that sort of thing. So overall, they had a really great day with some of the feedback that we heard. Oh, sorry. Next item, Community College Day. We have a couple of students here with us. I'll call them up shortly. So on Monday or Tuesday, my days get mixed up, February 3rd, we took 7 Central Texas College students to the Capitol who participated in the biannual Community College Day at the Capitol, which is hosted by the Texas Association of Community Colleges. I was so proud of our students. They joined 800 plus other students on the south steps of the Capitol, and they rallied as they advocated for themselves. They listened to a couple of speakers, then they rushed the building to get to those legislative offices and have their voices heard. They did an amazing job. They represented this. We have a press release piece that's on our website and that we've shared, so maybe we'll see that in the media. But for now, I would like for Shahid Rasul and Desiree Boston to come forward and just share a little bit with you about their experience that day.
Good afternoon, you guys. I'm Desiree Boston. I major in psychology here at CTC, and I am a team member of Net Impact chapter here at CTC.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Shahid Rasul, the VP of Social Media for Net Impact. Thank you so much for this opportunity, and I'm glad to get to speak with you guys.
When we were invited to the Capitol for Community College Day, I myself got to have a better understanding of what the annual event was, and it was basically to advocate for community college students who could not advocate for themselves with the problems that we have to endure.
The problem that I addressed within the Capitol was the pipeline between 2-year community colleges and 4-year universities with transfer credits. It's extremely important because we do a lot of work within the community college, and it just seems unfair that our credits get lost, and it's like the streamline is not very seamless as it should be.
Yes, and as I mentioned, my major is psychology, so I was advocating for mental health. I basically stated how many community colleges are lacking funding in the mental health system, and it's 2025. A lot of our priorities are mental health. People are taking mental health days off, and that I needed to basically highlight on that. I let a lot of the state representatives and the senators and their colleagues see that if we invest in mental health right now, there will be higher graduation rates, and with that, the workforce in Texas will be more productive, and there will be a positive outcome with all of that. Thank you, guys.
Thank you both.
Thank you.
Did you have something else? Aren't they amazing? At this time, Dr. Garrett will come forward and give us an enrollment update.
Good afternoon. Excuse me. As of census, which was January 29th, we did end up with a 10% overall increase in our spring reportable enrollments this year. So I was really, really pleased that we stayed up from what I reported. We went down a little bit, but close to what I reported last time we were here. We have 8,391 unduplicated students as a student head count for the spring. That is actually 465 more students than spring of last year. So it's good news. Any questions?
Anyone questions? Thank you, ma'am.
Dr. Garrett, can you stay right there?
Oh, okay.
So the National Center for Inquiry and Innovation, actually 3 years ago, stood up its first cohort of rural pathways, guided pathways for project for community colleges. And that first 3-year period just ended, and so they were in phase 2. You're going to have to jump in and help me. Phase 2. So we learned about this project a couple of months ago, and we didn't know much about it, but we knew that we wanted to leverage the resources, the subject matter experts, the tools that were being provided through this program to advance our work, particularly in the service area. The service area is, it's not been neglected, but it's been difficult to serve simply because resources have been short. And so as we look to improve our processes and the things that we do to better serve that area, we need some support. We need some support. And so this will accelerate the work that we need to do. The process, I'll let Dr. Garrett talk about the process, but we were extremely excited. I'll let her share the good news in terms of how we were selected and where our first trip is. So we're going.
Yeah, we're very, very excited that we were selected. Very quickly we had to pull together a lot of data and a lot of information to submit our application for the Rural Pathways project. It builds on what we're doing with Texas Pathways already, but it helps us focus on our rural areas. Texas Pathways really focuses on full-time in college at the main campus, and so this opportunity helps us take that information and additional knowledge, research, and knowledge from other institutions that have already gone through this and have helped to develop their rural areas and apply it to our service area. And so we're so excited to be able to take that information from them and help us, because we know we need to improve there. It's a continuous improvement, and by having the opportunity to work with these people that not only have done the research but have helped other schools, I'm really I guess tickled about it. And our first trip is over spring break to New Orleans. And what's good about this program is they pay for, it's part of this grant, they pay for the hotel and all our meals while we're there, except for dinner. And we just have to get there with our team. And we've got a team of 6 of us? Eight of us going. And we're excited about that. It's a 3-year program. It's going to take us 3 years working through and improvements. But we've been doing Texas Pathways now for 8 years, and we're continuously improving through that as well. So it's going to provide a way to reduce the barriers that our students in the rural areas experience to student success. And that's all what we need. And it all aligns with our strategic plan for student success. Priority one.
Dr. Garrett, I was thinking of Texas Pathways when I said community colleges, but I believe this is colleges and universities, correct?
I'm sorry, what?
I said I was thinking of Texas Pathways when I said community colleges, but this is colleges and universities?
I'm not sure.
Okay.
I think you're right.
Yeah, I
I'm
think it's
going back
com-
in my head. I
yeah.
think there are universities involved.
The way this process works is the first group of students, there were colleges, excuse me, there were 15 colleges.
Mhm.
And when they initiated the application process across the nation, mind you, these are schools across the nation that applied for this program.
Definitely.
And as Dr. Garrett said, we were able to pull some things together pretty quickly. And we landed in the a group of 19 who were the finalists from across the country. And then we sat down and went through an interview process with NCII, and it was awesome. Dr. Garrett, Dr. Clunas, myself, Dr. Oser, we interviewed with them. We shared with them the reason we believe that we would be a fit for this project, because on the surface, it looks like we serve KISD and CCISD only, and those, you wouldn't call those rural communities. But what we did was we explained to them our 10,000 square mile service area that deserved the same opportunities. Those students in those areas and those communities deserve the same opportunity at economic mobility as those here in our taxing district. And so they were very intrigued by our situation in that regard, but also the fact that we sit across the street from Fort Cavazos. So we were selected, and we are excited about that.
Yeah, one of the other things is, it's not just us with we had to involve key stakeholders.
Mhm.
And they will continue to be involved throughout the 3-year process. And one of the 3 things that they list as a outcome is to increase the economic opportunities in those areas, not just education, but how we can increase the economic opportunities for the students and for the businesses in those areas.
So our supporters for this project, because we had to include local supporters, were, of course, the workforce, Fort Cavazos, the school districts, the university, and business owners. So the support was huge, and we appreciate that.
Anyone have questions about this report?
How soon do they expect to, having granted us the opportunity to participate, how soon are results expected?
We don't know a lot of that yet. We will go to our first big meeting, like I said, over spring break in New Orleans. We'll have a little bit better idea of the timeline and the work that we'll be doing over that time period. And usually you take, they have a specific, like with Texas Pathways, you're focused on a specific area and you analyze the data and you look for what you can do moving forward and you start working on those. And each session adds more and more objectives to it. So I look forward to coming back and letting you know what we've learned at each one.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Thank you, ma'am.
Okay, legislative update. On the federal level, on the federal front, just lots of discussion, lots of changes. Not sure what's sticking just yet, I guess I should say. But one of our primary concerns and what we're focusing on is the impact of these changes on Pell and funding for our students. That's huge. So we'll continue to track that because they're calling us and they want to know. State bills continue to be filed, as you probably are aware. House committee assignments were just made last week, I believe, Ms. Briggs. And so they've not begun their work because they just received their assignments. But right now, the 2 bills that I think that are notable are House Bill 1 and Senate Bill 1. Those are the general appropriations bills. And it's interesting that for the community colleges, the line item for funding is identical across both bills. Now, I don't know if that will remain throughout the session, but for now, they are identical. There was about a 4% increase in the proposed appropriations for community colleges over last year. We've performed, I think, better collectively, better than expected. So, and the governor is very committed to supporting community colleges, and the Texas Higher Education Coordinating Board's ask for us. And that's all I have. Do you want to add anything? You got anything? Okay.
Ms. Evans, you have a report about the election process?
I do. Next week, I'll bring the contracts for approval for early voting and election day with the City of Killeen, the City of Parker Heights, and KISD. Election day will be May the 3rd, and we'll have Nollenville set up at Parker Heights, has let us hold a precinct in Parker Heights Rec Center, and Coryell County, working in conjunction with CCISD, will be at the school on Sunny Lane.
Anyone questions? Thank you, ma'am. Now we put the chief back to work. Racial profiling report.
Yes, sir. Good afternoon again. I believe you were provided with the details from the racial profiling report for the year 2024. Just a quick highlight of the report. The report includes data for 19 motor vehicle stops. Of those stops, 13 warnings were issued, written warnings, 6 citations. There was only 1 search, which was a consent to search, and 68% of those 19 stops resulted in written warnings. As I mentioned earlier before the meeting, one of the things that we want to do is pursue Texas Police Chief's best practices. And so as we move forward and you see this report again next year, some of the things will change to include new policy and hopefully some body cam data.
Questions, anyone?
Just out of curiosity, your report said you had 1 stop on a county road. Where or what is a county road that we have in our district here? I mean, where was that taking place?
I would have to pull that particular stop to gather that, to see where that roadway was. I don't recall exactly.
I don't recall a county road within our jurisdiction here, so that's why I'm asking. I don't know where it was. I
can
sure would like to know that.
I can certainly find that. Because I did go through all of the citations and written warnings that were issued for all of last year, just to make sure that they were allocated appropriately on the spreadsheet. It's all done manually, so, but I'll certainly find that
Thank you.
for you.
Anyone else? Any other questions? Thank you.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Dr. Cruz, Seeley? There she is.
Wait,
So it's not in our jurisdiction.
Oh, I'm sorry. I skipped over Dr. Rose. I apologize. Yeah. I didn't see her here. That's why I thought maybe she wasn't gonna. Pardon me.
All right.
We'll take you.
Well, good afternoon, members of the board. I'm here to share with you all a national initiative that CTC would like to join. And we have the opportunity to join this because of a grant that we received that's going to support the funding for it. But I'm going to go over a little bit about what it is. It's called the Caring Campus Program, and it's coordinated by, I'm going to read this, Institute for Evidence-Based Change. That's a lot of words, but let me break it down for you. The Caring Campus Initiative is basically aimed at building student retention, connection, a sense of belonging, and this completely aligns with our mission, as you know that, particularly with priority number 1, enhance student success, and priority number 3, continuous assessment improvement of operations and services. Now, what this is, it pretty much aligns with our work with Texas Pathways, like what Dr. Carter and Dr. Garrett were talking about earlier. This completely aligns with our work with Texas Pathways as well. And what's going to happen is we're going to be given a coach that's going to work with us for over about a year across 20 sessions with our faculty and our staff. And what they are working with us on is getting us to agree to certain commitments about student retention, a sense of belonging, and all of these things that are really hard to put your arms around. You know, it's easy to talk about student success, but putting it into practice is a harder thing. And so the coach is going to work with the 2 distinct populations to to get their commitments for this and then to put plans in action. So the timeline is going to be, we would love for this spring to start working with leadership as well as the staff and to have all of their work completed this spring. And we will begin the research for the faculty. The faculty will then take on their part for this initiative in the fall with the idea of completing all of our work early spring 2026. And this aligns with this grant that we've received because the completion of the grant is August of 26. So it's really, I think it's an incredible opportunity that we've been given. The hope is that we can scale all of this work within 2 semesters, and so really have a concrete plan in terms of really creating this sense of belonging and this connection for students. And you know how important that is with House Bill 8 and the performance-based funding, and we have to be about persistence and retention and completion. And this sense of belonging truly contributes to that, and that's what this initiative is going to do for us. Having said all that, this is not a cost-free program. So we pursued a grant. It's through the Texas Higher Education Coordinating Board. It's our 3rd success grant, and we were awarded $250,000 as part of this grant. $100,000 of it is being specifically designated for us to join Caring Campus and to participate in this initiative. So what I'm asking the administration to, the board to approve to spend $100,000 from the Student Success Grant to formally join over 150 other colleges in participation of the Caring Campus Initiative. Questions?
Questions?
I have one.
Perfect.
So we got traditional and non-traditional students here. Will this benefit both? or-
Absolutely,
That was
because
the
what this
question.
is going to do is it's going to encourage dialogue. It's a grassroots efforts, and so it's going to encourage dialogue from the staff and the faculty about what kind of commitments all of our students are entitled to, what kind of changes and processes that we need. For me, in looking at it and talking to other colleges that have gone through it, it has tremendous implications for our student experience and understanding our student populations, for our marketing campaigns, our messaging, our communications, onboarding, training of faculty and staff, hiring of faculty and staff. So absolutely that will fit right into it.
Good question. Anybody else? Brenda?
How will you encourage all of our staff to participate?
Okay, well, the Caring Campus, they have a very systematic process that they are going to put us through. And what will happen is our coach will work with us and help us identify the people that have to be involved in that. Now, the Caring Campus, they want to work with all student-facing groups, but they believe every department on our campus is student-facing. So that means police department will participate. That means risk management. That means maintenance. That means accounting. Certainly my area, certainly student services, but a representative will be a part of all of that. Not everybody, it's going to be kind of like a train the trainer mentality, but key people will be a part of that and be expected to take that back to their departments. And so it's also doing a lot of work. I'm sure you've heard like this idea that we have silos and we operate within silos, and the idea is that we break all that down. So our coach will be instrumental in helping us determine who will be the faculty, who will be the staff, and how we make all of that happen.
Do you know how often that your trainer will be on site?
We're going to have over 20 meetings with this person. So across this time, it's a lot. It's a very intensive professional development opportunity. So it's over 20 when you add them up. They're split between faculty and staff, and then the work with leadership.
Okay, sounds good, thanks.
Yeah.
Go ahead. Eric?
You mentioned it's similar to the pathways. Is it overlapping requirements or collaborative requirements?
It's a collaborative. It doesn't take the place of pathways. It builds pathways. As Dr. Garrett, I'm sure Dr. Carter has explained, pathways has different pillars to it. And one of the pillars is keeping students on path, as well as removing the barriers for students. This contributes significantly to that. To those pillars. And so where we learned about this initiative was at Texas Pathways. Several of us sat through several meetings about it. We've also learned about it through the Aspen Institute, as well as interviewing other community colleges in the state of Texas who've gone through it. So it it contributes. It does not replace Pathways, though.
Okay. One of the reasons for my questions is that in the past, where I've been in situations where I have this initiative here, I have this initiative here, I have this data set that I got to report, then I have to reformat it to meet this data set reporting requirements. And it just becomes cumbersome, and I want to make sure that our folks have enough time to do their job in addition to this.
And that's a great question. I don't think that the idea, they've done this at 150 institutions across the nation. The idea is not to take away from anybody's job, but actually to enhance it and to make it better, so that we actually serve our students better. So I don't think that's the goal at all for this program.
Okay.
Well, if we don't do this well, we won't have any students to teach. So that accounts.
We would love to be a model institution in this area and to be able, and I think the institutions that participate in this certainly move in that direction. So it's exciting. It's a great opportunity for us.
Ernest, did you have another question?
It's a great opportunity. My only question is, long-term, past the 2 years, what is the cost?
There is no cost. It's a one-time $100,000 investment that the grant is covering for us, and we will sustain the efforts on our own. So there is no cost. It's really training us to be the best success practitioners that we can be.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Zero cost?
Pardon me?
Zero cost?
Well, there's a
Well,
cost,
the
just
grant,
not from,
yeah,
that's
not from
the
us.
only cost. Yeah, that's correct. So it's a great opportunity.
Several years ago, while I was in public school work, I was involved in a similar kind of thing to try and develop on our campus a caring, feeling approach. And I discovered some interesting things. I taught next door to a older retired gentleman who had no desire to be a touchy-feely kind of teacher. He just, this is my way or the highway. And
Right.
And then I discovered, I was part of the study group, I discovered that there were students that did not want to be cared for. I'm going to be curious to see how this process works to try and mend those broken bridges or to maybe build.
Right. Understand that when we talk about caring, we're really talking about meeting the students where they are. So yes, a component of that can be the touchy feeling, and for the student that wants the hug, could be a part of that, but also it's understanding our student population and that they have differences.
Sure.
And Caring Campus is very clear in telling us that our Caring Campus and how we bring it to life here is going to look very different from another institutions.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to be very respectful of our student body and our culture and what we bring to the table. And it's going to be built based on those realities.
Good, thanks. Anyone else?
One more comment. Ever since I've been on the board and you've been presenting to us, you always bring us things that will help to build relationships with our students. I think this is a great idea. I look forward to it, and knowing you, I'm sure it's going to be successful. In the process, just make sure that I don't know how many instructors we have, 100, 200, whatever, that only 5 people show up. We have to find a way that everyone buys in to the same process.
No,
But-
our instruction side is involved in this.
Okay.
I'm up here presenting it to
Yeah,
you. This
yeah.
is a collaboration. And the Caring Campus has been doing this a long time, and they have a process for selecting the faculty, and everybody that makes a commitment. And to be involved in this.
That's a great
So,
opportunity.
and like I said, they have a ton of experience doing this. Like I said, over 150 other institutions, and several community colleges here in Texas, and they all talk very, very, very positively about that experience and making
And
this
if the
happen.
opportunity presents itself, I think everyone on the board is interested in making this the best opportunity or best environment for students to learn. So given an opportunity, whatever we need to do if we need to come and visit sometime or to talk to the group, one of us will show up.
Absolutely,
encourage
thank
it,
you.
so,
We will make sure that the coach knows that.
Anyone else? Thank you, ma'am. Appreciate it.
Do they need to vote on it, or
No,
are we
no,
good?
this one-
Next
next
week.
week.
Okay. Oh,
Next
thank you.
week.
Thank you. No, I want it now.
Good job, Dean Starkey.
Dr. Cruz Seeley, I apologize for trying to rush you.
Hello, Board of Trustees and Dr. Carter. I am here in November 2024. You helped approve the SMART program. Woohoo! And we have been rocking and rolling ever since then. So we have been outlining courses. We have been doing some advising. And during the outline of our courses, we're trying to enrich 3 of the courses we currently already have. And we applied for a grant. We were the recipients of the Texas Reskilling and Upskilling Through Education grant, the TRUE grant. And I'm before you today to try to purchase a 3D printer and a tensile machine. And so the idea of this is that we're going to have our students, this is super exciting, we're going to have our students draft machines 2D on AutoCAD, and then 3D on SolidWorks, so it's a 3D. Then they'll be able to print it on the 3D printer, and then they'll be able to test the strength of it, and that's what we need the tensile machine for. So the tensile machine will test the strength of the machine. Then we'll use our robots to be able, which we already have, we'll use our robots to be able to show them how to manufacture more. How do we copy it, pack it, and send it, which is, of course, is all manufacturing. So we're super excited for it. We already have the robots. We've actually been dealing with space too. We have acquired space in the planetarium for what we're going to call our smart lab. And so we're going to put our robots are already there. We're going to put our 3D printer there. We're going to put our tensile machine there. And so it's going to be the smart lab where all students will be able to go and be able to do these projects. And so I'm here to ask for $104,387. I said that really fast, but it's a part of a grant. So I'm just asking to spend because it's over $50,000.
Questions?
I understand it's part of the grant.
Yes, sir.
I understand grants come and go.
Yes, sir.
What about our sustainment cost? What is it gonna cost us 5 years from now?
So with the machine, the tensile machine itself, unless there's anything that breaks, there's no additional materials that need to go into it. We do have an insurance for 5 years, from my understanding, that comes with the purchase. The 3D printer, now that does come with materials, and what I've done is working it out by shopping and doing the vendors. They are supplying us with an $18,000 credit for materials with that, so we should be good for the next couple of years. And then during that time, we will be looking for more grants and to sustain the program as the program grows.
Anyone else?
Is it a plastics only, or does it do the metal?
It's plastics only. That's right. The metal ones are super expensive. I'll be back later for that.
It's okay.
Anyone else? Another question? Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Dr. Carter, you got a pile of thanks.
I got a pile. Just a few. First, I'd like to preface the next 2 items by saying that for the first 18 months, in my first 18 months as chancellor, I did a pretty deep dive into our operations. Some things we were able to address pretty quickly. Some things are ongoing, but the whole idea is continuous improvement and improvement in terms of how we serve our students and run this college. Student success is the North Star. Thank you very much for always letting me know that, Dr. Garrett. But during that time, I've been able to identify, some strengths, some gaps, some opportunities, and our team has done a really good job in addressing some of those issues. Prior to September 1, 2023, when I assumed the office, we had Dr. Garrett, help me. Dr. Garza did a secret shopper exercise on the college. And so I thought that's the perfect, it was a 9-page report of opportunities for improvement. And so we made that the focus last year, and we're wrapping up some things this year. We've made some really good headway in how we manage our student accounts, our processes over on the student financial side, our website, enrollment, all of those things. I'm sorry? Communications, big one. So we took that to heart. I gave it to Dr. Garrett and said, this is our report card, I need you to fix it. And so she's been working on that. But on a larger scale, what I've noticed are 2 areas that we really need some support in. and that's data. We need to build a data infrastructure. We have the systems. We have great staff, but what we don't have is let me back up. Alcantar is the first one. Thank you, Mr. Pierce. I said he's moving a piece of paper over here. What's he doing? Alcantar Strategies is the first one. You know, the governor wants us to build a world-class higher education where community colleges align with regional workforce needs. House Bill 8 was the impetus for that. And the old playbook just won't work. You know, we're not funded by contact hours, time, and seats. It's performance. There are performance metrics built into House Bill 8 that require us to be a little more intentional, if you will, about the work that we're doing. What happened is, prior to the implementation of House Bill 8, many colleges got out in front of that and started hiring chief strategy officers and, you know, others with that type of experience. Two of my colleagues, I talked to them, and I thought, where'd you get the money for that, you know? Because salaries and benefits you have to pay continuously, right? So I met Mr. Alcantar, and he's actually been to the college. When we did College Credit for Heroes many years ago, you remember that. We were awarded that grant through TWC. So a lot of times when you see College Credit for Heroes and it's on other colleges' websites, we did that. So Mr. Alcantar was really familiar with Central Texas College. He was once the chairman of the Texas Workforce Commission, and he's very well known in the state and does a lot of work for various organizations. So I asked him, I said, would you come meet with me? Because I need to accelerate some work. And I explained to him where we were and where we needed to be in order to in order to fully implement House Bill 8 as it's changing. There are some changes that are in discussion right now. And so you can see from the news, several other schools have really taken off with House Bill 8. Their numbers look good. Some of them are building new buildings around programs, et cetera. I would like to accelerate our work, not really to catch up, but to get us where I know we need to be. And rather than hire a chief strategy officer, rather than bring someone on staff permanently to help us with that effort, we have as you know, our team shrank a little bit several months ago. I believe that a consultant for a maximum of 12 months, and with my 30-day out clause, thank you, Ms. Briggs, would be very beneficial to the college. It would help accelerate the work that we need to do in order to meet that skills gap, that workforce need as Governor Abbott continues to bring in new businesses. Many of these jobs do not require a bachelor's degree. They just require credentials of values. But it's important that we align our work with industry needs. And so it's going to require partnerships with not only and we have the partnerships with the school districts, but we have to align the school districts, the workforce, and business and industry. And so he does that very well, and I welcome the help. We need the help. It's not that we can't get there, but this is 12 months or less versus a couple of years. And House Bill 8 has created an extremely competitive environment. It is a specific pie. There's some base funding for everyone, but at the same time, those performance outcomes are a big chunk of our appropriations now. So I believe we have the funding for it. It lines up with our strategic plan. I think there are 2 priorities that we identified. So I'm just asking for your consideration in that. I believe this is a much more fiscally responsible approach versus hiring personnel, which I can do. I just choose not to.
Dr. Carter, you have both the Alcantar recommendation and the Trivium recommendation. How much has Alcantar worked with Trivium?
No, they're 2 separate items because one is Mr. Alcantar and his company, the consultant. He will help us align our work, our efforts, our programs with industry needs. We will also leverage not only his knowledge and his skills, but his connections. I'll just say it, his connections to certain industry as well as private funders, because we want to continue to get funding to do some of the things that that Dean Starkey is doing, and some of the other projects that we have. So I have this little black book full of dreams, and they cost money, but they also take time. And so I believe that an agreement with Mr. Alcantar will help accelerate that. He knows his way around Austin. He has some pretty good connections, and as I said, I believe that this is a much more fiscally responsible route versus hiring someone. And he would work with our leadership team as well as some others as we have different meetings, and so that there is buy-in. You know, this isn't someone coming in to just completely dictate anything to us. We're going to let him know where we are, what we want done, and he is going to help guide us as he did. I mentioned another college there in the write-up, but and he currently works with several of the other schools within TAC. So,
Questions, anyone?
okay. The next item, same situation. This is something else that we identified during the last 18 months. It's the data piece. What I would like to see, and I believe everyone who's on our team, our administration, I see Mr. Lyles over there nodding his head. We need to, it's not even just a want, we need to move to a data-driven decision-making culture. Currently, we don't necessarily do that unless it's project specific. The way our system is set up, and this is not an indictment against anyone. It's not that anyone's not doing their job, but the way we are currently set up is if you have access to a particular reporting tool, then you can create a report, establish the parameters, and pull the numbers. Well, if you've got 5 people pulling the same information, you may very well get 5 different answers. And it's because we don't have a data infrastructure or a data culture. Our team has done an amazing job with what they have. I mean, I couldn't ask for a better team, but I feel, that it is my responsibility to ensure that they have the resources necessary to do the work that I'm asking them to do. And so as we look at adopting a data culture, as we look at building a data infrastructure, I believe it's necessary to bring in a data services contractor. Dr. Rashay Hines is the CEO of Trivium, and he has done amazing work with other institutions that we've talked to. And so, as a matter of fact, when he hit my radar, I asked him would he come spend the day with us for free, because I thought it was important that this not be a decision because the majority of the work would be performed by the staff. I felt like it was necessary for the staff to have an opportunity to engage with him. And so we provided some data. He created a data book for us, some of which we used in our response to the NCII project. And he spent an entire day. We had a plenary session, and then we had breakout groups. And the feedback was extremely positive. I had several folks ask me, are we going to hire him? When are we going to hire him? And so what I'm really excited about with regard to this particular agreement is there are clear deliverables, and I outlined that. I outlined those in that communication. But I'm really excited for Dr. Garrett's folks. Dr. Garrett has Department Institutional Effectiveness led by Dr. Carrie Rose. We don't have an IR department, but we have a group of folks that with the right resources and training can get there. And I feel like I know it's our responsibility to make sure she has that. I think during the workshop, we had to pull the microphone away from Dr. Carrie Rose, if you can believe that. You've probably not heard her say 2 words, but she was highly engaged during the workshop, had tons of questions, and I know that she's one that would really appreciate the additional support. We believe that maybe 12 months, but some schools have taken longer. So the original agreement was for 18 months. I said 1 year and a 6-month option if we need to. So again, we do have the funding. This lines up with our strategic priorities. It supports continuous improvement, but more importantly, it supports our students.
Anybody, questions?
Yes, it sounds a lot like the efficiencies organizations that we're seeing pop up, and I'll just leave it there. Is there an expectation that we'll have a return on investment greater than the cost?
Yes. Now, let me say about the efficiencies that organizations that you're seeing. We had our workshop before that.
Yes. Yes. And this, you know, as a business owner and former military guy, this is something I would always go through myself. How can I do it better, faster, smarter, less expensive, and then make the adjustments as we go. So anytime we, throw some outlay of funds, we want to make sure that the return on that is at least as much as what we're expending. So.
Absolutely. So what this will allow us to do is, when we think about House Bill 8 and the various performance metrics, what happens is they provide us with our own data that we provide to them in whatever format. We can look at how we were funded for associate degrees. Let's choose that particular credential. And if we look for those areas, we were less, I think it was, our funding for the next biennium, I think, was less than the previous year. But so what we can do is we can take the data from those, what we need to be able to do is take the data from those associate degrees, drill down in within the programs, within the classes, to figure out what's going on, what happened. One of the examples that was given to us, or to me as I was researching this, is you'll be able to look at a chart, and let's say you see a decline in enrollment in the science classes. And so initially you'll think, oh, well, we've got to recruit more students. But really you want to look behind that data point to see what's going on, because there's a student behind every data point. So when the college drilled down further, they noticed that the barrier to those science classes was actually the prerequisites. So they were able to further drill down into the prerequisites to find out what's going on there. And so this is data that we'd be able to look at real time. We wouldn't be looking at it, Mrs. Coley always mentions this, looking at something, a year too late, because then it is too late. And so what we're talking about is standing up a data infrastructure that allows our staff to not only extract the data, but to analyze the data, interpret the data, and then we make some serious decisions about the next steps. It will also allow us to provide you with dashboards. You don't have to wait every month to have Dr. Garrett, because she didn't know that was her assignment. Now every month, 2 months in a row makes it every month, right? So, to come forward and provide you with an update. We get dashboards, we get those implemented. You can go in yourselves to see exactly what's happening with enrollments, how many students are taking this, 6 hours or more, those kinds of things. And so, and also our community will be able to put some of that on our website, and our community will be able to see it. It also, it will streamline some of the work, and it's a serious gap for us, not having a solid data infrastructure, while we also adopt a data culture.
Now I'm going to throw something in there.
Okay.
Predictive analytics through AI. Is that something that could be integrated with this?
Hey, I'm sure if we're willing to pay. Yes, and predictive analytics is a part of it. Predictive analytics.
That way you can see the train before it hits you.
Right, exactly. And so that is a part of it. We want to move into more forecasting as it relates to our budget, and to do some things that we've not traditionally done. But as I've been saying, and I think my team is tired of hearing it, progress without change is impossible. And we have to change our playbook and how we're doing things.
Mhm.
Now, that's not, obviously, that's not an original quote, but
I got a question. Would this give us better forecasting? Like I said, student in a 60-hour course for graduation with associates, if it's taken them 66 to 72 hours to graduate with that 60-hour degree, and how long that average student actually stays at CTC to achieve that degree? Because with like House Bill 8, it's graduation rates and stuff.
absolutely.
And like if you got a student 4 years to get a 2-year degree, we're waiting that much longer to
Right.
get fully funded on it.
And so, to your point, what this will allow us to do will accelerate in terms of identifying what the issue is and quickly addressing it and making adjustments. It'll make it that much easier for us to pivot where we need to and to address student needs real time.
You sold me.
Good. Anyone else?
Thank you. That's all I have.
Yeah? Any recommendations for topics for upcoming agenda items? Ms. Coley?
Nothing more than I just did.
Yes, I've got one, going back to Dr. Garrett's briefing, SAC COC, reaffirmation process in our documents that the board approves. We do one annually, finance accounting, so that's one in our ticket right there. I would like to see on our agenda the review of board documents at least quarterly, and through a cycle of years, we can do all of them, or we can take one meeting and do it all at one time. But I think if we integrate them in our process, we'll get through our 10 or 12 board documents that we're responsible for at least every 3 years. I think that would satisfy SAC COC and get us off the hook there. That's my recommendation.
Sounds good.
Good idea.
James?
I'm good.
Just a concern that I got hit with, and I just wanted to make the chancellor aware of it. The VA counselors that are counseling our students, they're not up to date on certain, like the 35 and the 36 and the 31. They need to be more, and which is causing them to go, having our students to go back and forth trying to make sure that the classes that they're registered for are qualified, that they're qualified to take. And there could be a little bit more clarification on, it's not us, but it's the VA part. If we could talk to them and see if they can get their act together on the counseling part, especially the VA counselors.
Absolutely. Thank you, sir.
The board meeting scheduled for next Tuesday, the 25th of February, and then a workshop in March on the 11th. I didn't look at the calendar when I saw that note. Is there a reason why it's not 3rd and 4th?
Spring break week.
Spring break, okay, okay. I knew
Except
there
for
was a
those
reason.
who
I
are
just wanted to
traveling.
know.
Can you mention about the luncheon next week? The luncheon on the 25th? Can I say it?
I just did, didn't I?
No, for the 25th, the luncheon will be in the,
Oh.
with General Admiral, the Military Relations Council.
Okay. Look, you have to have the lunch for the 25th. When we meet, we won't have our lunch in our regular spot.
The lunch will be in the ballroom,
Okay,
yes.
yeah, thank you.
Military Relations Council.
Right.
And the board meeting in March will be the 2nd and the 4th Tuesdays
Yes.
instead of the 3rd.
Okay. Anyone else for the good of the college? Well, since we don't vote, we can adjourn.
It's the
As opposed
educational.
to letting them without a-
That's